All right, welcome back to class. In the previous section, we talked about how to set up QuickBooks application. Now, where we discussed or I showed you the step-by-step processes of how to extract the software, download the software application, extract it to your system, and do the installation on your own. It's a do-it-yourself process kind of thing. So, in the next section, we are going to now go into navigating through QuickBooks by using a sample file application. So first of all, before we do that, you have to open up your QuickBooks since it's already installed. So I've opened up my own. When you open it, you will see something like this. It's either you see a screen like this actually, or you see something like this. So either screen or either display you see is still the same thing. We're going to navigate through it, and the other screen I closed, I'll explain to you what that screen means later on. But for now, let's dive into this sample file so that we now see how to navigate through QuickBooks and what QuickBooks comprises of. So without wasting much of our time again, let's go right into it. So if you look at down here, you see a section where we have they create a new company file, open or restore an existing company, open a sample company. So because we want to talk about a sample company, we have to go straight into that. So in the sample company, I'll open a product-based business so that I can see a product-based business was giving me a kind of general workflow of what we can do with QuickBooks. Because it will have the inventory, it will have the customers, it will have the employees. So all these things, it will also have the vendors. So all these things are things we need to know in QuickBooks. Also, know that QuickBooks application software for accounting is different from QuickBooks POS. That's point of sale QuickBooks. Point of sale QuickBooks in QuickBooks is the one you see in the shopping mall or in the supermarket, where the cashiers or sales rep interact directly with customers. The only thing that application can do is to capture sales only in real time. So at the end of the day, what they do now is to send the sales report to the accountant, who will now impute it in his own QuickBooks application like this one and start preparing other reports like the profit or loss account, the balance sheet, the changes in equity, that's equity statement, and other report required by the management. So let's go into it. So once you click on the black pointer you're seeing here, you will now see that there are options for us to choose from. We have a product-based business, we have a service-based business, we have a non-profit organization, we have the contractor business, all these, but we are not going to go into details on them. So what we are going to do is to click on product-based business, but you are free to select any business of your choice to work as a walkthrough to see what it comprises, or depending on your kind of business you're doing, and you want to make a walkthrough and you want to see how the workflow is done before you can now create your own QuickBooks company. So that is what we're going to use the QuickBooks sample file to. So once you click on once you select any company of your choice or any kind of industry of your choice, you can open it. QuickBooks will take time to generate those company reports and give you some hints of what you are doing so that you'll be aware that, okay, this is a sample company. Now you can see this is what I'm talking about. Important, use this sample file to practice while you learn QuickBooks Desktop. Do not use it as a company file. You can see this is a kind of information that QuickBooks is passing to you, that this is a sample company. You can only use it as a practice company as you learn QuickBooks. Yes, but we are going to do a real-time work. We are going to do a real-time work where we are going to set up QuickBooks application and all the chart of account and everything step by step on our own. And also, if you're okay with this, you can now go on. Also, it may also interest you to know that you can actually create a company file based on a sample company. That it will import the chart of account and every kind of setting that is done in a sample company, but it will not import the transaction recorded in the sample company. So as we are doing that, we will now wait. QuickBooks is loading up the sample company for us. So you can see that QuickBooks has finished opening the sample file. These are the things we need to see. Now showing us the accountant center. These are accountant center. These are like tools that the accountant use. Like I said earlier on, QuickBooks desktop application for account is an accounting solution software, basically for accounting solution, where you can automate so many processes, things that you will have done manually. You can use QuickBooks to record that. So that is what QuickBooks is showing us here. So in that regard, this one we don't actually need it for now, but we can see open it back later, and so you can close this one up. Now this is the dashboard, the dashboard, which shows the navigation of transactions in the system, shows where you can record transactions, or how you can trace transactions in QuickBooks. So you can see from the up here, from this very place, we have the vendor. Now this vendor is the vendor center, where you can enter the name of the vendor. If you click on it now, it will open the vendor centers. You can see the names of the vendors. Vendors are people that supply product or goods to the business. Now these are the list of vendors already existing in the sample company. Now if you want to add a new vendor, you can come to this place. You can click new vendor. Once you click new vendor, you can add, let's say we are adding Sage Solutions Ltd. So you can put the phone number, you can put the work number, you can put the mobile number, you can fill all this information for now. Because it's just a sample company, I will not bother myself on that. I'll just go ahead and click save. So once you click OK, it has now recorded Sage Solution. You can see the highlighted, this is Sage Solution. You can see it says Solution Limited, which is the vendor we just entered. So once you click on the vendor, you will see the vendor's information displayed in this whiteboard. So you can see the vendor's information, you see the name, you see the billing billing address. You will now also see the transaction done by that vendor. So let's actually select vendors that are already existing. So if you click on this vendor, you can see that these are the transactions that this vendor has done with the company. So you can see that here we have the purchase order, we have the bill payment, we have the bill that was received, we have the bill payment. This PMT means payment, and it was paid through check. You have the bills, These are the transactions that the vendor has done. Another way to see the transaction is to click here where you're seeing transactions. You can see all the purchase orders, You can also filter it by open purchase order, that is purchase order that have not been fulfilled yet. So, and you can also filter by dates. You can take today. Now these are the vendors, these are the purchase order that are open today. So these are it. Remember that QuickBooks is considering this sample file, considering 2022 as a current year, because it's a sample file. That's why you're seeing it like this. So don't bother about the dates, because it's a sample file. That is why you're seeing it like this. So when we are doing our own, we are going to be doing everything in real time. We are going to use the real date. As we progress, you will be seeing the changes as we are making them. So you can see that this is the purchase order. If you want to see the item receipts, so these are the item receipts. This is what was received. Pattern hardware supplies. You can see the bills. These are the bills, all bills. If you want to filter by open bills, if you want to filter by overdue bills, you can now filter by overdue bills. If you want to filter bill payment, that's bills that have been paid, and these are the bills that have been paid, all the bills that have been paid. You want to filter it again, you want to filter by date, you can filter by date. These are the bills that are paid today. So you can see these are the things, credit card and this. So all of these we are going to be doing them. So I just wanted to see how the vendor center work. The vendor center is where you're going to enter the name of a new vendor. If you have gotten it, if you get a new vendor or a new supplier that will supply a particular product to you, this is where you're going to enter. We're going to do that one in details. Now by the left here, all right, let me just finish this one first. Now we have the customer center. Just like the vendor center, the customer center is also a place where you enter new customer, where you will see all transactions relating to a customer. So if you click on this place, the customers, You can see it open up the customer center. Now this is a customer that is clicked on. This is the one that is selected. You can see the information relating to that customer. These are all the transactions that the customer has done with the company. So you can see it. If you want to check the transactions, you can also do the check by estimate, check by sales order, check by invoices, check by statement and charges, check by sales received, check by receipt payment, credit memo, and refund. You can see all of this. So we can now go back. If you want to add new customer, you can still come back to this. If you click here, you see add new customer. Once you enter new customer, it will now, you enter the information of a new customer. Let's say we want to enter Mega Services. So Mega Services, let's say, is a customer to us, is somebody we sell to. So we enter his details, we enter the company's detail, Mega Services Limited, enter the company's detail. Once we are done, we can now click OK, and that customer will be recorded in our customer list. So this is it. We have now recorded Mega Services because it's a new customer. There's no transaction involving the new customer. Now let's say the customer wants to order something, want to order something from you, or you supply something to the customer. So you can click here, say transaction. What kind of transaction? Now we have, if the customer paid in cash, now we use what is called sales receipt. But if the customer paid, will pay later, we use what is called invoice. We're going to explain these things later. So let's say the customer is we are going to supply to the customer, then the customer will pay later. So we use what is called the invoice. So when you click on transaction, let me go back. When you click on transaction, new transactions, you now select the invoices. Once you select the invoice, select the customer. So this is our customer. We have selected the customer. Remember that it's taking this as the current date, so you don't need to bother about the date right now. So once you do that, you select the item. What item do you supply to the customer? So let's say we supply blueprints quantity. Let's say we supply 20. So once you enter the quantity, the price, okay, this price has not been set automatically, but in our own, we're going to set the price automatically. We're going to set the tax rate as well. So we now say the price is, let's say, $200, because we're using dollar here. So once you set that, you can see it has automatically calculated the amount. So this is the total value. If it's taxable, you can select taxable item. It will now add the tax rate to it, which is 7.75%. This we are going to do on our own later. We're going to see a hands-on and a real-time practice on how to set up the tax rate, and it will calculate automatically. So when you do that, capture that, you will now say, if you want to save and continue again, you can save and continue. If you want to save and open a new transaction, you can save and open a new transaction, or you can save and close this particular transaction. Means there's you don't want to record any other invoice on that regard. So what we are going to do right now is to save and new, because we want to record to receipt. Now let's say now the transaction is a receipt. This one is a receipt transaction. All right, so we can close this one actually. So when it says receipt transaction, I'll use the same customer actually, so that we'll be seeing it. So when you say receipt transaction, you click on receipt transaction. If you click on receipt transaction, select the customer's name. We are still going to use Mega Services. But now say the transaction is a cash transaction. The person paid in cash in the office. So what did we do? Actually, blueprint, let's say floor plans. This is what we supply to the person. Let's say we supply 30 pieces. Now the rate, the selling price is going to be $30. So this is it, and this he paid immediately. So we have now selected the customer, select the mode of payment, which is cash, and it's a cash payment. You can just say save and close. You can choose if this is a taxable transaction, you can say taxable, choose a transaction, and choose a tax code. I'm going to show you how to set the tax code actually. So you can see it will calculate the tax rate as well, and When you are done, you click save and close or save and new, depending if you want to open any transaction. Now you can see, because we have selected these mega services, these are the two transactions we just recorded. One of the transaction is invoice and one of the transaction is sales receipt. Now by sales receipt, it means it has already been paid. Now if you look at it, we have the invoice numbers, we have the sales receipt number, we have the invoice number, we have the date of the transaction. Now we have the account which the money was received. So one of the account is account receivables. Why is it account receivable? Because it is money we are expected to receive in the future. So this is why QuickBooks automatically record it in our account receivable, so that it will be tracking it immediately the person paid, then it will now capture it. So this is, if you go to our chart of account, we are still going to go there, but let me just show you. If you go to our chart of account later, as I'm going to show you, you now see this value also included in our account receivable. Now you can see undeposited fund. Now because it's a cash transaction which was made in the office, which was made in the office and we were paid cash, so this amount has not been deposited in the bank yet. So that is why QuickBooks is capturing it under undeposited fund account. So this transaction now, if you want to record it later, if we take the money to the bank and make the deposit, we can now deposit the money in the bank using QuickBooks, so that it will now reflect in our bank statement and also in what our record in QuickBooks. So that is what it means here. So you can see, let me close so that we'll continue. So this is basically what we can do with sales with customers, but there are a lot of transactions. So you can see the flow of how transactions are generated in QuickBooks. Now a customer may request that you should send him a sales order, so he requests that you send him a code. So the code is what we refer to as a sales order. So it will now translate into what we call the estimate. He's not estimating. If the customer say, okay, let's supply this product, so when you supply the product, you create an invoice. So this invoice is what the customer is going to receive at the end of the day when the supply is made. So now after receiving the invoice, the customer is obligated to make payments either now or later. So if the customer make payment later, so because the payment was made later, we are not going to use sales receipt to record that transaction. So what we are going to use now is going to be receive payment, so that people will say, okay, this payment was received later, not on actual date of the transaction. Remember, we're using accrual basis of accounting. That is, we don't record cash only when it is received. We record cash when the transaction is initiated. That is the simple way to define accrual basis of accounting, but we are going to dive deep into that later. So for now, since we have an open invoice, so that open invoice on mega services, and let's say the mega services now pay later. So since mega services is paying later, now we are going to select mega services. So just watch what will happen here. Immediately I select mega services, it will now bring out an open invoices for mega services. You can see that we have an open invoice of 4,310. So if you select here, it will automatically consider it that the person is paying complete. But if the person did not pay you complete, what you need to do is to put the amount the person paid. Let's say the person paid 2,500, on which you can use this check number. You can use if the person paid through check, or if the person paid through check or through credit card, you can select. But let's say the person paid through card, you can add your own payment system here. You can see, let's say the person made direct transfer. We are now adding another credit payment method, direct transfer. All right, so let's say the person paid through direct transfer, that he's transferred directly to the company's account. So, and he transferred 2,000. So instead of ticking this place, what you need to do is just put this value. So once you put this is the amount that was paid, QuickBooks automatically calculate the balance. So once you put the amount that was paid, sorry, I don't understand what is going on here. Let's go back. Select mega services. So if you select this place, it will now automatically fill the payment amount. But rather, this is what we're going to do. Instead of selecting here, we uncheck it. Now put 2005 as the amount the customer paid. It automatically fit in here. Now once that is done, you can now say save and close. So QuickBooks has captured that payment. So let's go back to our customer and see something. Let's see what happened there. Now if you come back to the customer here, you see that we have another transaction has been added. We have payment, which is 2005, the one we just recorded, and is where is in undeposited account. Why is it still in undeposited account? Because QuickBooks is tracking transactions based on the way they happen. It is not you that will tell, okay, deposit, this is the transaction that was paid as cash, this is the one that was paid through bank, so this one direct bank transfer, you know, deposit it directly to the bank. So you're going to initiate this, but QuickBooks will just take cognizance of those transactions for you, so that it will be easier for you to classify them where they are necessary, where appropriate. So that is it on how to record credit transactions. So if at the end of the day we want to see what transactions, what is our credit balance, what's our account payables on our customers are, we can come to Business Insight. Also to check the transactions, to check how your business is doing, or you can come to chart of account here. When you come to your chart of account here, you now look for your account receivables. You can see this is the total amount on your account receivable. So double click it. When you open it, you can see that this is the balance you are having now. Because we are looking for a particular transaction that was recorded today, a payment that was recorded today for this is the payment, this is the transaction, this is the invoice value. So if you double click on this, it will not show you, okay, the invoice is overdue, the amount was this, but payment will apply on this invoice was 2005. So the balance on this transaction is 1,810. So that is what we are going to be seeing. So you can see that QuickBooks is tracking it with that. All you need to do is to record a transaction once, and QuickBooks will take cognizance of everything for you. So that is it on how to record transactions, credit transaction. But we're still going to do that. I'm just using a sample company for you so that we go through it. We have the customer, now we have the employee. So this is basically when you hear the name employee, you know that this is where all your employee transactions are. So if you want to do any setting in QuickBooks, any setting at all right, before I go there, this is a company setup. We have the chart of account. This is very, very important, because before we start anything in accounting, you must make sure that this chart of account is active. You must know how to organize your chart of account, and the inventory activities, your items and inventory activities are linked together. We have the checks orders, we have the QuickBooks update, and we have the calendar. Then we have the bank. These are the record, the records that need to be deposited in the bank. So let's click on this one so that you see. Now you can see that this is a direct payment transfer of 25 that we just received, and this is the one that was paid through cash. So if you select the two of them like this and click OK, you can now select which bank you want to deposit it to, or which account you want to deposit it. So let's say I want to deposit it into this checking account. So these are the transactions I want to deposit into the checking account. So once I click save, they will now be recorded in that checking account, and you see that these transactions here have reduced. So there's only two transactions that we have here. You can now close. So if you go back to your chart of account, here and click on it, you click checkings account, you will discover that there's a transaction that was recorded for 2,500. So what's happened initially, because I'm using sample company, I don't think that transaction will be recorded. I don't think it will be recorded because I mistakenly click close, so it closes the QuickBooks. That's why I have that breach earlier on. So but basically that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the transaction recorded in this place, and because it has moved out of your this thing, it has moved out of your undeposited fund account to the place where you have recorded, which is the checkings account or whatever bank account you are using. So that is it basically, and that is how you can record transactions like that in QuickBooks. Now you can also look at the employee center. This is the employee where you calculate all the remuneration. If your company is paying based on if the payment made is based on the hourly basis, you can record the transactions here. You can also input the company's the employees information, and QuickBooks automatically track these transactions for you. At the end of the month or at the end of the period, you don't need to be recalculating work here and there. So all you need to do is to do the settings once and for all. So if you look at here, we have the home. By the left, we have the home, which is what you are seeing right now. This is the home page, which is what you are seeing right now. So if you look at under the home page, this is the dash where we are seeing all these icons. Now we also have something very important that we're going to talk about later, is the tax management, manage sales tax settings. We are going to talk about that later. Now we have the insight too. Now the insight, like I said earlier on, is going to show you how your company is doing over time. So you can see if you want to filter it this month, this is how the transaction, this is the transaction we're having. But let's say we want to filter by today. So today, like this is how our chart is looking, and this is how we're operating. So let's say, now you can see today is considered as December 15th according to the sample company we are using, and this is how we are doing so far. So the snapshot is going to show you how to go about things, how your company is doing. It's a kind of a pictorial representation of your company. So that is it. So if you want to add your logo, this is the best place to do that. You can click on the logo button here and select whatever logo you are using. Let's say I have a logo here. Let's say select the logo. You can put anything at all. Let's say I'm using this as my logo. So if I put it, it will upload it automatically. All your invoice will be bearing this. Anywhere you see your invoice, you will see this logo there. So that is it. So if you come to the left here, we have the company. This is where you can adjust some settings if there are settings you need to make, or if there are things you need to add on your company settings. This is where you're going to do. You can just click here and it will give you an opportunity to effect the changes. So we have also the income tracker. Now this income tracker is actually very, very important, because this is the place where you'll be seeing on a glance how much people are owing you, how much you have received so far. So this is unbilled. This unbilled are invoices or sales order or estimate you have created but you have not sent to the vendor, to the customers yet. So remember that anything that has to do with income, is talking about customers. So you can see these are the estimate or sales orders that have been sent but have not been billed as invoice yet. So that is what we mean by unbilled. Now we have the sales orders. So these are the estimate or sales orders that have already been sent to the customer, and the customer has accepted them, but it has not been paid for, or it has not been supplied for yet. So we have the time, we have the time and expenses. We have also the unpaid. These are the invoices that have not been paid. These are the invoices that have not been paid, and these are the invoices that are overdue. You can see these are the invoices that are overdue. So by clicking on them, automatically you will see what is going on. So right now you don't have any paid invoice. Let's say okay, we still have mega services here. Okay, mega services here. That means it's telling us that today actually no payment has been made. Now if you want to receive payment from mega services, a balance of 1,810, let's say we receive payment from him of let's say 1,800. So yes, that is what we receive from him. Then there will still be an outstanding. Leave. Now you can see here, this one is very, very important. Leave this as an underpayment. That means if you're leaving it as an underpayment, it means the customer is still owing. But if you want to write it up, because let's say the amount you want to give it as a discount, the $10 you want to, or 10 naira you want to give it as a discount, you can just write it off. But let's leave it like that for now. So if you say close, okay, the mode of payment, let's say you paid direct transfer, so click save and close. It will now record the transaction. Well, I don't know why it's not still showing us here the payment that has been made already, but either way, when we come to our own company, when we start creating our own, we'll now see all of this in detail. So you can see that the balance is still 10 here. That's the balance on that cost on that customer. So that is one thing your income tracker will do for you. Now I have the bill tracker, just the same thing as the income tracker. The bill tracker will tell you, will show your unbilled goods that you have received, but the vendor have not sent you the bill yet. So we have unpaid bills. These are your unpaid bills, bills that you need to pay. Now you have your overdue bills. You can see these are your overdue bills and you have not made any payment yet. So let's say you want to pay for any of these bills, so you can just click pay bill. It will now start paying bills. So when we start creating our own company and start entering transaction in real time, I'll now show you how these things work and how you can be doing it and you'll be seeing your result immediately. Because you're using sample companies, this whole thing will seem like a whole complicated. So it will seem a little bit complicated for us right now to actually master. But when we start it on our own, we will see how it works. Now we have the calendar. This calendar, you can use it to prioritize your activities, what you need to do for the day and the other things, just like the way we use Google Sheet and Google Calendar to track our to prepare our to-do list for the day, to-do list for the month. You can see all these things. You can set your tax payment date, you can set your invoice payment date, you can set your customer invoice receive date. All these things you can set them as deadline, and QuickBooks will help you track them. Once that date is approaching, QuickBooks will send you notification. This is how we can, I will still show you how we can do all these things later. So now we have the company screenshot. Now it's just like the inside I showed you when we were talking about the home. When we are here, the inside, the screenshot is another way to view how your company is doing. So you can see this is your income and expense trend. You can see income is green, expense is it lemon, a bit orange, so anyone. So that is it. So you can see this is how your company is doing this year. This is how your company is doing. If you want to check how your company is doing this month, and click this is how your company is doing this month. If you want to see how your company previous income comparison for last year, previous year income comparison, you can just click check it by month. If you want to check it by month, this is how it's doing month by month. This is 2021 and this is 2020. That means you are doing greatly well in 2022. So you can see these are the customers who owe you money. So you can filter, you can print them out, you can now check their records. You can see the mega services which we are seeing here. It is not owing us $10. You can see the balances, account balances. This is what we have as our receivables. This is how we have in our checkings account. This is what we have as payables. This is what we have in our savings. This is how we have liabilities we have to pay. We have the federal withholding tax. We have the whatever. Later we are going to set all these things on our own. We are going to do it on our own, and we're going to see how effective it is. So all these things are your company's screenshot and snapshot showing you, telling you stories about what happened in your company. So that is just it. And you can also see that this is a customer center. Instead of going to that place, we can also click from here and go to our customer center. Our vendor center too is also there. We have your employee center too is also there. So most of these things are actually linked to each other. We have the reports. This is, you can also click here to generate your report. Depending on what kind of report you are looking for, you can click there to generate your report. So that is it about this particular section. So in the next section we are going to look at how to create a company file. we're going to look at how to create a company file. So how to create a company file later on, that's what we're going to be looking at. How to create a company file, and we're going to define what a company file is in QuickBooks and why it's important in QuickBooks. So see you in the next video.